Niaje my guys, mko poa? Kama mko poa, pia mimi niko poa. Today is Sunday, the 25th of August 2024. It's a day after the Kilifi Vipingo Loop Safari Gravel Race, and I'm just here reflecting. So we left Nairobi on Thursday morning, and we got here at maybe Thursday at midday, and in the evening I managed to do a 25-kilometer loop, just to, like a blowout session, just to make sure that my legs and my body was recovering well from the long drive, because I drove down to Mombasa. On Friday, just a morning pull session, and afternoon I drove down to Vipingo Beach, which was a race park collection center. Yeah, and after that I went inside Vipingo Ridge just to see where the start line was. I didn't want to get lost in the morning, so I drove there, had a feel of the place, and after collecting my race pack I went back to the hotel, and yeah, waited anxiously for Saturday morning.
Niaje my guys, mko poa? Kama mko poa pia mimi niko poa. It's the 24th of August, very early in the morning, around 6:45. I'm just about to leave the hotel to go to the race village. It's around 30 minutes drive. Roads being clear, maybe shorter, so that will give me ample time to set up my bike just before the gun goes off. Yeah, so today is race day. Wish me all the best, and cheers. I'll keep on updating you when I can.
Saturday morning ikafika, went down, had breakfast. I was a bit tense. Ate very little food. Asked the guys at the hotel to pack for me some snacks to carry for the race, and off I went. So the hotel that I've been staying at is around 30 clicks from the race village and the race start point. And when I was in the middle of the drive there, I realized I had forgotten my Garmin watch, my Garmin computer. Yeah, these things do happen, especially when you're nervous. Yesterday I was very nervous, but you know what, I had my phone with me, so I was able to record on Strava the race. So I got there in good time, probably 30 minutes to spare before the race started, and yeah, I prepared to my best for the race, and off we went. So on 20-kilometer guys were let to go. A few seconds later it was a 60-kilometer guys, and the race started quite well, and we did a loop around the motocross cross-country racetrack, which was actually the venue for the race, the Kilifi Loop Safari Gravel series. And yeah, even before my legs warmed up, I felt the pain in the legs, and I knew it would be a long day. I can attribute that to probably not eating the right food at the hotel and not warming up for the race, obviously. Other factors also, it's the altitude that we are in. It's not an altitude that I'm used to. The ASL. Down here it's probably, I think the highest point the race reached was 90 meters above sea level. So the difference in altitude also played a key role. So kidogo, immediately after the first loop, there was like a right turn. Immediately we made that right turn, got the first hill of the day, and I'm there, panting, and I can see most of the guys from the Coastal team just going past me. Hapo mbele I spotted Duncan Wanjohi of Wazee cycling team. We had a chit chat, and yeah, we rode the race together. Actually, only that first bit, and then we again reconnected at the very scenic area of the dam. And after that, I couldn't see him anymore. He's a strong lad, although older than I am, way older than I am. Haha, but he's a strong guy. Yeah, the race was pretty nice. What can I say about the route? The route was a fantastic route. Actually, among the 3 races that I've attended in the series, this was the best suited for a gravel bike. Very smooth surface, very fast rolling, but Costo kumbe kuna milima, that part I didn't know. So it was hills, hills for days, some long descents, some long ascents, and it did a number on me. I enjoyed the downhills, but the climbs were too long for me. Like the climbs, I'm used to short climbs that I can punch through and momentum can carry me to the top. Basically rolling hills, but these ones were just long and continuous. So by the time my momentum from a downhill has carried me to a few meters in, I don't have energy. I need to spend just to try and climb up the top of the hill. So yeah, that's about the terrain. The descents, because they were fast, there were a few rocky sections, but not so rocky, like hiyo coral, yani unajua imejificha huko katikati ya mchanga, so ioni vizuri. And I think at some point I had like a small puncture. I looked at it, made my assessment, nikaona this one will seal because tires are tubeless, nini sealant iko ndani. But as I rode, I kept on losing pressure. Look at that gnarly drop. Low pressure on the front tire. So I had a small puncture. And I've got a big puncture. I had to stop and fix it. There's a gnarly clamp on this other side. Let's get it. As we continued through the race, I kept on stopping. I think I stopped another 3 more times just to keep on inflating my tire. And I lost so many positions, but here in Ashida, I was here to enjoy myself. And again, I'll reiterate about how hard this race was, because in loop fashion, the race had a few loops that you needed to do. There was a 20-kilometer loop, which eventually I think got to 30 kilometers. Then there was another wider loop that you needed to do if you were doing the 60, and then another wider loop for the guys who are doing the 120. I was doing the 60 kilometers. All the races I've done the 60 kilometers. I thought my fitness will improve and I'll manage to do the 120 by the time we are finishing. But that wasn't to be. But yeah, 60 is good for a weekend warrior like myself. I only managed to ride my bike on the weekends, and mostly just Saturdays. So by the time you are finishing the first loop, man, we are done hills for days. My back was in pain. I couldn't believe that was the 20-kilometer loop that was promised. If you're coming to do the 20-kilometer loop, you probably did the most challenging thing ever. Like that course was hard. That course was hard. So after I finished that, actually for me now, between 30 and 60, it was easy. Along that ride, my back felt better and I could push a bit, but not that much, because remember, my tire had a puncture and kept on losing pressure. So by the time I wanted to push, my tire is low, needed to reinflate it, and that was a trend all through. But I kept going, because the views in Vipingo, oh my God, you guys don't miss next year's race. If they bring it down to Coastal, I know the logistics are kind of crazy. It costs an arm, a foot and a leg just to attend this race if you're not from this area. But try and put it in your plans. If they announce it early enough, budget for it and come and check out the views in Vipingo. If you're a gravel rider, this is a race that you want to do, because this is the perfect race and trails for a gravel bike. So smooth, yani so flowy, kidogo single tracks, open wide roads, palm trees, sisal, ups and down hills, and there's a dam that you just die to see. It's breathtaking. It looks nice. It's in the middle of the race, so it's like a relief. Like you see the water body and you're like, let me stop and see it. And then, you know, when you water body, you know you are the lowest point of the race, so there must be a climb coming up. And true to the word, on the other side is a long ass climb, man. And, I think at some point I stopped. There's a video I'll show you guys, but I just stopped and looked at where I came from, and I couldn't believe it, man. I know you can't park there, but let me show you where I came from. Down there, from that down. Goddamn. Yeah. After that, I just kept on pushing. I met another guy in a mountain bike with a Jumbo Visma helmet. Tulipush naye. Looked like he was suffering. But I was equally suffering as well. He had chosen to do the 120, but at some point he said, no way, I'll just do the 60. I hope where you are, but you managed to finish the 60 kilometers and you're okay. Hopefully next time, we'll chew what you can bite. So the weather in Coastal, it was hot. It wasn't humid. It wasn't too hot. It was windy. On my gravel bike setup, I have deep section wheels, and 2 or 3 times I felt the wind pushing me, pushing the deep section wheels and changing my course of direction. That's how windy it was. And I think because of the wind, when you were riding your bike, you couldn't feel the heat as much. Like it was cooling you because you're moving. But immediately you stop just for a few seconds. Like when I was stopping just to reinflate my tires, I could feel the heat. But as I was riding, I was okay. As long as I was moving forward, I was okay. So we talked about the weather, we talked about the route, we talked about the course, and the finish. The finish again was a loop around the motocross track. Just once I got there, there was this old chap who was on a mountain bike passed me because my energy, I'd spent it all, I'd left it all on the track, and he passed me so easily and went and finished before me. Cheers to that mzee. It was a very tough mzee. By the time I got to the finish line, I was glad that the race was over. At least up on our sidelines, my wife was waiting for me. She's here, lakini anajifanya not interested in this video, but shout out to me. Thank you for being there. She was enjoying the vibes up of our village, the village setup. Again, look, I've done it really well on all the races that I've attended. Enough drinks, enough food, enough music, and that party atmosphere imekuwa fiti sana. I like the fact that Loop has invested in the cycling scene, in the cycling racing scene. The way that they have, made their events, they are fun to attend, they are enjoyable, and they are equally challenging. They are inclusive of family, because they have family-friendly things to do around the race village. Family-friendly short races, races of various distances. So depending on your fitness, on your level of fitness, you can do something and enjoy. This race had, I think, a 5-kilometer fun loop, a 20-kilometer family fun ride, 60 kilometer for the enthusiasts like myself, and the 120 kilometers for the pros. Hopefully next year we'll see more of them. They said this year they had planned to do 5, but logistical issues they did 4, so probably next year we expect them to do 5. the CEO, Bwana Eric Morioki, mentioned that possibly we might see a loop event in a different East African country, because their vision is to elevate cycling in not only in Kenya but East Africa, and to have a few riders get into the pro scene just because of their races, which is a fantastic idea, fantastic vision, which is also being shared by Team Amani. Shout out to them. The ones who've been also conducting these races in conjunction with Loop. Shout out to the sponsors who are away. Shout out to Loop. Shout out to NCBA. Shout out to Team Amani. Shout out to somehow. Shout out to my friend Peter Pojing Donga. You guys, kasi wewe majestic ukanigene race. Asante sana for the opportunity. When ni mso wa nguvu. Shout out to Rona riders, as much as they weren't here. Wameni provide na kitu ingine murwa smart sana ndo nilikuwa nimevaa. It's coming soon. Check it out. We're about to drop it like it's hot. Asanteni sana once more Rona riders. Nikiride nilikuwa na ride with you guys in the back of my mind. If you are disappointed, monichekele. So I managed to cross the finish line with all the challenges. Shout out to Andy Bolo. I think my last big ride to Liandanae, which was in preparation for this race. And chances is the one now behind this video editing it to bring you all this. I guess that is it. I'm done. And, hope to see you next year for the races. And, like, subscribe, comment, share. Na ni hivyo guys. Hope mko fiti. Cheers.